Okay. Hello again, and thank you for joining us today. Let me introduce my colleagues. Dmitry Chuprina, our business development manager, and Dan Hart, our chief meteorologist. Um, Welcome everyone, and Dmitry, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Katya. Thanks everyone for joining. I think it's the one in the series of the webinars and various online events devoted to dashboard and open weather product. So I'm really great to see everyone here at our webinar. I think for today, I'll be leading the webinar. So as Katya mentioned, my name is Dmitro, and I'm leading the business development department and open weather. So across all the products and everything, what's going on with and all the engagement with our clients. And I'm pleased to introduce you Dan Hart, our chief meteorologist, and he will be as well presenting our meteorological service. So you will get know more about what actually that means, what kind of a service and expertise you can get from our meteorology team, and how that's connected with the dashboard and how you can utilize the dashboard to use this service as well. So the structure of our webinar will be pretty much simple. So as you've seen in agenda, so we'll spend about 20 minutes talking about the dashboard, showing you some functionality. I know there are some people new to dashboard present on a webinar. Some of the participants were transferred from our old trigger dashboard. So I think that will be useful for everyone. And as well, as you can see, this webinar is recorded. So you will get the recording after the meeting if you miss something. And also that will be as well publicly available for everyone to, take a look and close at the dashboard and its functionality. So in the end of our demo, after 20 minutes, we will leave about 15 or 20 minutes for questions and answers. So we'd be happy to receive as many questions from you as possible. You can see the Q&A section open for you, and I can see already some of the questions coming up. So it's really great to see the engagement. Please throw them to us, and in the end of the session, we'll be happy to pick up and answer all of them. Again, this can be about the dashboard, about OpenWeather and our other products, services, if you're interested, something about meteorology and meteorological service, questions to Dan, so everything is welcome. And so the rules are simple. Just use the Q&A session and we'll pick up questions and answer. And we will also type some answers so you can see them there as well. So there's no need to raise your hand. We will answer all of them. Okay, so with a quick introduction, of course, you very well aware about OpenWeather, but just to reiterate that the dashboard is pretty new product. So we launched it this year. And again, it's in a really active phase of the development. So the purpose of the webinar as well to gather some feedback so you can see the functions or some particular things that you would like to see in it. Please, again, leave your comments. Reach out to us, use the dashboard, and I'll show you how to use it to actually talk to us. And we, of course, will be improving the service. And we have a very long pipeline to kind of develop in the dashboard as well. So all your feedback is very much welcome alongside with questions. Just to let you know as well, of course, OpenWeather is one of the biggest global weather data providers. So, of course, all our data is available via APIs. You can find it on openweathermap.org, the whole list of variety of APIs, including some industrial specific products. We also offer maps, historical data, as well as a consulting and analytical so-called enterprise service. as well, where we can offer some customizations and particular products tailored to your needs, to your use cases. So feel free to utilize that as well. We are very much fast responding. So if you have any questions or potential use cases where you can see the weather can make a difference, or you need a specific data, of course, reach out to us. We are also experts in AI and machine learning. So the new area of data modeling as well available, and we already experimenting with it. So you can find these products as well. But without further ado, let's switch to the dashboard. I hope you will see it on my screen in the moment. And yeah, that's the main screen of the dashboard. You can log into the platform, go into the dashboard.openweather.co.uk, or just search in Google OpenWeather Dashboard. The registration is free. We make this product available to everyone to try out, to see, and to utilize it. Some functionality is limited in the basic version. If you need upgrade, we can talk as well. But our mission is to provide you with a sophisticated product that is available to everyone, so you can make your business or life decisions based on the most accurate global weather. So the dashboard consists of several parts. As you can see, we have here the panel where you have the main menu, and again the button with a question where you can talk to either meteorology team or technical team if you have any questions. This is the main panel. You can see the dashboard is location based service, so you can see your main location added. As a basic user, you can add up to 3 locations, and again you can upgrade to add the unlimited amount, like 10, 20, 100,000 of locations, whatever is needed based on your need. So the locations are switching here in the menu, so I can go from one location to another. I picked 2 locations as a basis for our use case presented at the webinar. I use 2 locations, and in the meantime, I will add more. So this is the realistic use case. So we have a client having several warehouses across the UK. Again, we use it just an example as we're a UK-based company, but of course, that's accessible globally, so you can add any location across the globe. So our client have some deliveries throughout the weeks, and they have operational meeting every single week, looking at the weather and saying like how their locations are affected by strong winds, by a high level of precipitation, by strong rain. Is there a potential flooding, or as well, if the temperature drops below 0, there can be ice on the road, so they can take extra care. So they want to be alerted in terms of making deliveries, loading, unloading, in terms of those events, and they utilize in our dashboard. So in this case, we have those locations, and you can switch between them and also see, of course, some general weather. So the current weather, here's the timeline in terms of the 3-hour step interval, the forecasted weather, and you can switch into particular layers. So we can see the precipitation with some legend here, and if you zoom out, zoom in, you can already see the changes in the weather. But as you can see across the London, it's unusually clear sky and no precipitation whatsoever. Pressure map as well, with some legend, wind speed, and cloud. So this is the basic setup. Again, dashboard is very much customizable product. So preempting your questions, yes, we can show the different data based on the use case. We can add several layers needed, and again, expand the panel below, so where you can see the drop down. Again, here it's by default it's locked into 6 hours with hourly interval. You can see how the weather changes. The sky become brighter without clouds, and some changes in wind direction, but it's relatively good weather in London for the next 6 hours. If you can look at the Newcastle again, pretty much unusual. You can see some rain starting at 8, but there's a really simplistic drop down. And again, we have a variety of data sets, including like solar radiance data, including wind speed, including many other parameters, fire risk API, road risk API, and all the data related to variety use cases. So as I mentioned, based on your use case, we can build some customization and add your data here. And we have a panel with various alerts and notifications coming to the dashboard to your account. Again, you can click through them, but I'll get back to that in a moment. So, a simple question: if you want to add locations, you need to go to settings. You can see my account, my company, Metro Logistics, very good company. So if you need any logistics in the UK, I'm joking, of course, but you can refer to that. So you can easily add a location. You can search it by name. So for example, I have another warehouse in, let's say, Cardiff. So I can search that and, either put a pin on the map. So I have somewhere closer to Newport, or you can manually add latitude, longitude, and just put a name, Cardiff warehouse, and add these locations, and immediately you can come back to the home screen, and this location will be available. So you get all the data, the same drop down for your location as well. As I mentioned, like in my case, I can add another location. So as mentioned, it's a global service. So let's maybe say like Toronto, and we can add a point in Canada, and let's say Toronto warehouse. So we can add another location, and again, coming back to menu, you can already have the whole different temperature here. You can see it's a bit freezing, not that cold, but all the data is available to you. So I think that's pretty much simple. The one interesting thing, again, that's additional to the dashboard, but some of you already use this service. This was a specific service at OpenWeather. Now we integrated it into the dashboard, which is called triggers. Again, I don't have triggers created here, but this is the function which allows you to be alerted in terms of a particular threshold, a particular weather event, or particular situation where you need to be notified in your location. The trigger system will allow you to do that. Let's use an example. So for example, okay, by default, I'm in Toronto warehouse. I want to be notified if the temperature drops below 0. So let's say cold weather, ice. And so air temperature drops below 0. I want to be notified for the 3 days ahead. And again, I can enable it, send into my email. So I use my email here. And already, as you can see in the panel on your left, you can see already those trigger events already created. So I'm already notified that on the 4th of December, so tomorrow, the temperature at Toronto will be below 0. So its actual value is minus 0.85. And again, that's created the same thing for Thursday, for Friday, and again, -3. So I already notified by that. And if I switch to those notifications will come up to the email as well. So again, you can create more triggers. Let's say we want to be notified if there's strong wind in London warehouse. So you can put wind speed, put condition more, and let's say I'm worried about if it's like 10 meters per second. Again, three days, but maybe I need it only for 2 days, and I'll add trigger. Again, that's created here in our list of triggers. But as you can see in the panel here, we don't see in the forecast anything happening. So we should be fine here. And let's do one more. Maybe let's use Newcastle, and if we want some precipitation, so heavy rain. Let's put, for just an example, maybe level 5, just 5 millimeters should be enough. And we add another trigger. And as you can see, yeah, we don't expect rain in Newcastle. So for my purposes, that's okay. And you just need to understand that the roads in Toronto can be icy, and but nothing else affecting my deliveries. But in some case, I might need additional advice. So this is where the help of meteorology team comes, because again, this is not the complete information. For example, I want to have a report for my London warehouse for a week ahead. So we have a specific section, reports, and you might question what it's all about. So let me show you how it works. So I can ask a question, and I want 7-day forecast, and I message meteorologist that please give me a 7-day forecast for London. And I can send a message, and it will be immediately received by meteorology team, and that it will be immediately seen in my cases. So cases is all the questions you have raised to the meteorology team or to our support team. You can see I have a big history of them. Some of them are closed, some of them still in progress. So I'm still waiting for reply. Some of them are open. So again, the status changed while you receive reply, and if it's resolved, it's closed. Again, if you have additional questions, it will be still in progress, but you already receive a reply from the team. So yeah, and I can wait for my report while Dan will be generating it. I'll give you a little bit of a overview as well here in terms of the user guide and about us section. Again, these are pretty much simple. You can see the profile of Dan here. You can request consultation from here as well. So it's pretty much the same functionality. It will open an email, and you can write a direct email to Dan. So again, you can utilize a direct contact with our chief meteorologist, but be aware to raise the important questions with him. And user guides, all the questions in terms of location management, product features, the list of cases, reports, alerts, everything here is available to you to just read and understand how it works. And again, please refer to the support information. There are some explanations in terms of descriptions and weather notifications. And again, you can see an example of our weather reports. But we will get to the real stuff in a moment. Here you can see tariff. As I'm working for OpenWeather, I have a privilege to have premium, but everyone can request it as well. And yeah, and this is the list of reports received by meteorology team. So they are all listed. You can see I also have a big history of them. Asked for different locations, and they are all received here. So you can always come back to them or find the new reports in this section as well. So then how we doing with the report? I know it was a too short notice.
Yeah, I sent it 2-3 minutes ago, actually. You should have received it. It was one I prepared earlier. It wasn't a 7-day, but it's the same principle. I think it was a 3 or a 5-day I sent.
Okay,
You have it? It's the same ones I sent earlier if it hasn't come through.
Okay, so that's the report here. You can see weather forecast for City of London, as I mentioned. It's your company name, and again, it's created by Dan. You can see some synopses in terms of like better description in terms of what's happening. I will actually leave Dan to maybe give some explanations in terms of what's included here. You can open it in the panel. You can see here all the drop down of the events, and you can also open it in PDF. So yeah, maybe Dan, over to you just to quickly give
Sure.
couple
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, if you could put the panel up, that'd be fine. Yeah, so the idea behind the meteorological service was to provide some added value to some of our products. And the idea was to bring in some qualified meteorologists to provide the service when the forecast of a more critical nature was required. So much of the data you've been seeing previously to this is straight from model data, which maybe 80% or 90% of the time will do you fine. But in certain situations and certain customers will require something a little bit more critical. And I just tried to give you some examples. Perhaps there's a company with an operation and they can't carry out this operation below a certain critical limit. For example, they can't do it below 0 degrees centigrade. And maybe the models are forecasting 0 degrees or 1 degrees. So the model will be telling them that it's all good. And maybe 90% of the time along or more, that'll work. But in certain situations, it's useful to have a meteorologist backing up that report and adjusting the data based on their knowledge and experience. So, for example, the meteorologist might know in that certain location at a certain time of year with that certain weather setup, it's not actually going to be 0 or 1 degrees. You need to take a couple, maybe 1 or 2 degrees off the model, and that will take that critical limit below the operational threshold of that particular customer. But that's temperatures, and similar things apply to wind speeds and offshore to wave heights. And another example would be what we're experiencing over the next week or so by the looks of it. We have some very fast moving Atlantic systems affecting the British Isles. And what happens during this time of year, particularly during the winter months, sometimes the models are a little bit too slow to catch up to the actual weather conditions. And again, that will come down to a meteorologist using his experience and his training to recognize that and provide some added value in a forecast. So this is, as you can see, the format of the forecast. You have a general summary at the top with a synoptic scenario, then a summary of the data in the section below, and then you have it tabulated. And the tabulated data will be maybe typically 1 hour over the shorter period, and then it can drop to 3 hours or even 6 hourly towards the latter half of the forecast as less detail is required. And in this example, we can highlight critical limits. So the green is representing everything is within this particular customer. He can operate with the amber. It's near his critical limit. And I don't think there's any red in this forecast, but if it does go outside his critical limits, that would be indicated red. So it's a nice, clear visualization for the customers. And yeah, that's all I have to say, Dimitri.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Thanks a lot. So I think you had a glimpse of how it would work for you. So you can see there's a really granular breakdown on all the parameters. And again, we can discuss with you red, amber, green. It's kind of a very, very standard system to highlight the critical events. So again, if you need to make some decisions in terms of the weather a particular day, you will be already notified, and it's clear, it's visual. And again, you can ask additional questions. You can download it in PDF like here, and then to be sent to your colleagues and shared, so everyone who have no access to the dashboard. Again, you can see you have some graphs as well to visualize that, and yeah, that's kind of it. So again, all the reports available here, all your communication with the meteorologist will be available here. As you can see, and, I have some replies here, and reports as well can be sent via this dashboard. And as I mentioned, triggers, I can see, as you can see my screen, I also received those notifications on my email saying that for Toronto warehouse, the temperature will drop below the 0. One thing to announce as well, as I think we are close to the end of the demo, and we'll be getting to the Q&A sessions. We still have 15 minutes, and I can see around questions in the chat. So we are also opening up for you, for participants, a free consultation with meteorologists. So you would just need to fill out the form. Let me post it into the chat so you can see it. So you can please fill in this form, and then I'll send it to everyone so you can request a consultation. But also we will send this form by email after the webinar. So it's pretty much simple. Just leave the data. If you have a company or some use case, it will be good to just add some more details as possible. In terms of your details of your request, you can attach some files if needed. And again, you can please add your required locations. If you add the same name as your company name, as your company name is listed in your account, that would be easier for us as well to maybe link the dots here and answer you pickup location from your account. So of course we can get access to that. So yeah, I think that's it for the main part. I will keep sharing my screen if needed, and just maybe show some things, trying to answer all your questions. So yeah, maybe maybe we start with some questions. I can see the question from Peter. How does one change units of the dashboard display? Celsius to Fahrenheit, for example. Oh, that's actually a really good question, because I don't think this function is available right now in this type of settings. We are planning to add a specific panel with analytics, and with some settings you might change, and changing the measurements is a part of that. So please bear with us. We will include that in the next updates, and then you'll be able to do that. So thanks. That's a good question, Peter. Andre is asking, where does the data come from? The data source can be changed. Not quite. So the data source is only one data source. I will switch to the slides where you can see our OpenWeather model. So we have, as a company, we gather data from multiple sources. Predominantly, these are the biggest meteorology agencies. So we have specific partnerships with them. Plus, we utilize radar data, satellite data. So it's a big variety of sources. And then all the sources are gathered into one data model, which is OpenWeather model. We called it OWHL. So it's a hyperlocal model. That's why we can provide the resolution up to 500 meters. Sometimes it's up to 2 kilometers, depending on the territory, because again, this depends on the data sources we have and the granularity of them as well. But of course, we have a whole machine learning. So our model is machine learning model. So we have AI/ML model, which trains the model on its own mistakes, if we frame it like that. So we constantly checking the forecasted data with the real measurements, and recalibrating, making the accuracy growing on daily basis. And that's our model, we also have historical data, 45 years before and up to 100 years ahead. And yeah, and you can see here on the slide, apologies that text may be too small, but we have a whole list of the parameters which are available in the model, and again, which can be shown on the dashboard. And yeah, minute by minute precipitation forecast, historical data, weather maps, etc., plus accuracy. If you're concerned about that, we usually um, our accuracy level is less than 1%. So in particular cases, we can offer accuracy reports come to business needs. So good question, Andrea. I hope you have answered that one as well. Andrea as well asking about distribution, minimum maximum relationship between temperature and height above the sea level, where it can be found in the dashboard. Is there a comparison to the individual versions? So my understanding, Andrea, you're asking about the differences between locations as well and several parameters. Yes, this functionality is not available at the moment at the dashboard, but again, it's on the next stages of interaction. So giving you some analytics and ability to compare locations and temperatures and various parameters for those locations. Yes, that's the next step. So just follow our updates and yeah, we will notify you once it's ready, but you'll be notified by email anyway if you're dashboard user. So, but again, it's a good question. It's we are on the route to that as well. About the triggers, what does the notify parameter means? Let's come back to that, if I may, if I understand you correctly. Notify means, you can see here, it means a number of days ahead of today that you will get a notification. So Mariano, that was your question. So if I create a trigger to notify 3, so that means that I will receive a trigger for today, for tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and 2 days after tomorrow. And that's the similar I've showed you here on the panel. You can see it's already generated for 4 days ahead. So for 2-day, 3rd of December, and 3 days ahead. If you put 2, that will be only generated for 2 days ahead. So today, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow. I think, yeah, I will get to the product team. We might get a little bit of an explanation here because I can see that can be that can raise some question here. Thanks. That's a good question. Thanks for asking. Yeah. From Sophia is asking, from a technical standpoint, how do you store 45 years worth of historical data? What type of database do you use? If it's not a secret, of course. Yeah, I've partially mentioned that in our question. Again, it's all the model data, OpenWeather model data. So it's not a particularly data from one or another provider. It's a combination of variety providers. And I can show you this slide. So we have this kind of a partnerships with a variety of meteorological bureaus across the globe and meteorological societies, so World Meteorological Organization. So we have multiple data providers and various type of partnerships to ensure that the data is the best quality. So yeah, thanks, Sophia. I will click those which I've answered live. Let me get to the other questions. Where I can find the documentation on which weather parameters are available. Again, question from Mariana. You can look in our user guide. So you can product features. This is at the moment, the list of parameters you can see in the dashboard. Yeah, they all mentioned here. And by request, we can, of course, add some parameters. We'll be adding them alongside the product development. But again, if you require some customization, some parameters which are available in our model, and I need to go back to that slide as well. You can also find them on our website. Here, air pressure, precipitation, sunrise, sunset, humidity, dew point, cloudiness, visibility, UV index, wind speed, solar radiance, evaporization, fire risk, and others can be added by request. So that's also possible. Just please get in contact with us. So Yogesh is asking a question. Hi, I can see the proprietary data on the dashboard. Can it be hosted on Prem without sending any data outside? Yes, Yogesh, it's a very good question and something I wanted to mention. So the dashboard can be used as a white label product. So yes, we plugged in our data, but in terms of your business needs, you can just use all the functionality and plug in data you use, or you can combine the data on the dashboard with additional sources. So we have clients who also using their own meteorological stations on the ground in their facilities, and they want to see this data on the dashboard. So this functionality is not showing in the version like great demo, but it's possible to use the dashboard in that way. So I hope I've asked your questions as well. So Walker is asking, how can I get the pressure forecast for tomorrow? Yeah, so it's very easy. So if you're a dashboard user, you ask a question, and you can send a message to a meteorologist with the same question, and we'll be able to generate a forecast in format of the report you've seen, and with all the breakdown of the pressure. So this function is in demo mode as well. So the meteorological reports, if you want to receive them on a regular basis, will be at a paid service. So it will be included in premium subscription, but as one-off service, we can offer that to you. So I hope you answered your questions. We have 5 minutes and still open 19 questions. So I will try to get through that quickly. Paul is asking, what are sources of real-time VX on dashboard? Not sure if you mean by WX, but already mentioned in terms of the models. I hope that answers your question. So hopefully that answers that as well. Jason is asking, I was wondering how easy it would be to integrate into SaaS platform using your API, and how is this licensed? Yeah, so Dashboard is available, our enterprise subscription, so you can just talk to us. But yeah, it's possible to integrate parts of the dashboard or all the functionality into the other platform. And again, combine it with API. So yeah, that's all possible. So Jason, please get in contact with us. Yeah, we'll be able to discuss your use case. I'll post my email into the chat so you can see. And we have another question from Daniel. Who do I contact to discuss customization? That's the same. You can just send an email to our general contact info, and we can discuss that. So I will type an answer in a moment. Sophia is asking, you mentioned that you have big plans for development. Are you planning to visualize new metrics, for example, the spread of allergens during the flowering season due to wind? It can be useful for allergy sufferers. Oh, it's a good question, Sophia. Yes, the pollen, we actually have a data set on air quality, and the pollen is something as well along the lines here. So we didn't think about visualizing that on the dashboard, but yeah, maybe we need to add air quality and take a look if we can add something on pollen as well. I believe it's also very important because we actually do have several projects beyond the dashboard working with air quality data. So yeah, I think it's a great question. Thank you. Okay, we can see thanks for participation. Mariano asking what the maximum of days ahead the trigger can be set. By default, yeah, it can be 3 days ahead. Yeah, and you can see it on the panel, but it will send you tomorrow it will be sent for another day in 3 days ahead. So you'll have the continuous notification. And as you can see, we also have alerts. They're not present on my dashboard as yet, but these are the general alerts sent by governments and specific open weather alert system. If there are extreme weather events, you'll be notified here as well. So that's a good point as well.
I see a question from Joseph I can briefly answer.
Yes, go
Joseph
ahead.
was asking how much time does it take to prepare a detailed weather forecast. I assume he's asking about the dashboard forecast that we showed. It very much depends on the time of year, the location, and how far ahead you want the forecast. A very simple 3-day ahead forecast during very easy weather will take 5 minutes. But say a 5-day ahead or a 7-day ahead forecast for a northern latitude during a fast-moving winter situation can take a minimum of 15-20 minutes. So it very much depends on all sorts of factors.
Thanks, Dan. Do you see any other questions that you can answer? I think we're coming to the end of the session, so maybe we'll have time for one more. I've sent my email, so you can reach out, in terms of the customizations and questions for integrations to my email, and again, alongside any other inquiries. But Katya, do we have time to maybe for a couple more questions?
Yes, please.
Yeah, let's pick up the few more. Yeah, I think we have a couple more minutes. Dan has answered this one.
There's a question about whether we can send to WhatsApp. I'm not actually sure about that. Are you aware of that one, Dimitri? Can we send the triggers to other platforms, for example, WhatsApp?
We can send triggers to emails. In terms of WhatsApp,
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I don't think
Not at the moment. Yep.
Not at the moment, but it's a good, interesting idea. So yeah, thanks, Paul. Is it possible, Volkmar is asking, is it possible to combine several events to one trigger? Like temperature below heavy wind and precipitation. At the moment, you would need to create separate triggers for all of that, but again, it's a good question, and we'll mark it up for the next stages of development. So you have several triggers like for one location, and then you will receive notification if one of them will meet the requirements, or two, so one more will meet the requirements. So yeah. Great question as well. Andrei's asking how current are the data sets and where can they be seen? I'm not sure what you're asking about data sets. Is you mean the model data? Usually it's delivered via API. And again, you can see it, just a part of it here and in the panel. Again, based on your needs, based on your use case. If you need more detailed data to be seen, please talk to us. We can think about some customizations. Plus, you can receive them via the reports. So yeah. Jason's asking, we have a field service platform. It would be useful to have weather forecast when planning projects. Yes, exactly, Jason. That's the exact use case for the meteorological reports. That's where you receive this detailed breakdown for a week ahead or the period you need with the breakdown, the markup, so everything which Dan showed. So usually in this case, this service is utilized in this way. That's for sure. And yeah, I don't think I have any other questions left. So alerts via SMS, Paul. Yes, and that's the next coming up integration. I think it's a good point. We need to do that as to keep operational teams. We have some teams who are working in the field. So yeah, at the moment it's via email, but yeah, SMS. Will be dashboard available on the mobile? Paul asking. Not at the moment. As you know, maybe you know, we have a weather app. So again, free to use weather app. You can use the dashboard as a in your web browser. So it's the same functionality. So it's not an app, it's just a web version. It's optimized for that, and you can find all the functionality. But the specific web dashboard app is planned to be developed as well. Thank you. Okay, so I think we're good. 50 minutes. Thanks everyone for great questions, for being with us. I'm ahead of the winter holidays. I wish you everything good. We still have several weeks, but we will do the next webinar in the new year. So we will add some functionality, and we will probably extend it a little bit longer for more questions. And we'll be happy to give you answers. Just please send us email or reach out via dashboard. We'll be happy to look into your use case and find the best solution for you and the way to optimize and improve our dashboard so you can use it in full potential. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I think we will have a lot of presence, and if any of you, please do fill out the form. You can receive free consultation. You can talk to Dan, ask your questions again, and receive a particular consultation in your use case. So we will be gathering that throughout several weeks and coming back to you as quick as possible. So again, thanks everyone. It was our pleasure. Have a lovely evening. Cheers.